I think we need all of us, and Mike's done this very effectively, to talk about the clean economy and not just clean energy. It helps from an investment perspective because you can look at a broader spectrum. It helps because energy efficiency and renewable energy connect together very well. And it helps because it's surprising how many other ways these sectors connect. It would be possible to set up DOE funding for many of the programs that DOE operates as matching funds going to the states on a block grant basis. There are more than 24 state programs that we work with, friends of mine work with. I'm on the board of an NGO that is active in this area, that have put out $3.4 billion of state funding in support of renewables over the last dozen years. 130,000 discrete projects, almost 4 gigawatts of power. And most interestingly, they have leveraged that investment about 3 times, an additional $10 billion of private investment that came alongside the public funding. So if you were saying to DOE, a good way to use your money more effectively is not to decide right here in that abomination of a building where every investment dollar should be spent, but instead to work with states and let states have some controls. And you won't like everything they do, use their definitions.
Right.
I think it makes a lot of sense. The Clean Energy Victory Bonds introduced H.R. 6275. It's an interesting approach. The attempt is to raise money in the public with the equivalent of Series EE savings bonds, with all the proceeds being used to fund the ITC, PTC makers, all the things that we're told will cost us in the economy. We think that there's a very significant demand on the broader population to support clean energy, and people don't have a chance to do that. But the other thing that that vehicle does, if it's created, is it allows people at any level, literally at the level of school kids, to invest in the country's clean energy economy. And I think that's a terrific signal. The idea of changing the rules on master limited partnerships to allow renewables and energy efficiency to benefit from that financing vehicle, again, can get private investors into the mix. I'm told that it takes about 35 words change to the existing legislation. Seriously opposed, I will tell you, seriously opposed.
And the rationale, the opposition is fossil fuels?
Yeah, it will cut into the existing business of the investment banks who offer it and the fossil fuel companies who feel that a broader network would potentially dilute the value of their investments. The most interesting opportunities are inside of DOD. And you've got the Navy now trying to get to 50% renewables by 2050. The Army, $7 billion coming out on the PV side alone. I mean, very exciting. And honestly, I would spend more time helping them do even more than they've done. I think that there are opportunities to make changes around the margins that could really matter. It's possible, technically, my attorney friends tell me to go to the Federal Power Act and tweak it so that as you are taking coal plants offline, as is happening over the next half decade, you could allocate a portion of the transmission from that those plants are currently utilizing and allocate that to renewables. So it's a reserved portion for renewables. Frankly, if you don't do that, almost every megawatt hour of that transmission potential is going to be absorbed by new gas plants, which is not a bad thing in lots of ways, but if you're interested in seeing clean energy promoted, this is one way to help assure that at least one of the barriers has been moved aside.